Welcome to Bluebird Enterprises.
Alright, good evening everyone. Took the Prelude outside to get some of the dust off. So it looks like the paint on this car, it's actually pretty faded if you compare it up here. So I think I'm actually going to probably paint the whole car, because otherwise it'll look very obvious that I painted the door and the quarter panel. So I got a big project ahead of me. Got some parts here, moving it over from, we have a shop up the road a ways. So time to get to work. It looks like we're gonna be spraying some high build primer here in a little bit. So it should be a good thing to film. It should be interesting. Got this pretty smoothed out, so we're thinking some high build primer should be able to fill in most of the gaps. We're probably gonna spray it and then put a guide coat on there and see how significant of a low spot is in here, and we'll see what happens. Oh yeah, also this morning we put some brakes on this truck. They were pretty shot, so it came out good. Seemed to be working okay, so it's good. Type SH. All right, time to get to work. Alright, so I tried to get some of the primer kind of off and make sure everything was smooth before I get to painting this. I'll probably hit these spots a little bit with that etching primer, because it's good to hit the bare metal with the etching primer before you kind of put some paint on it. And then I'm going to probably pull this thing back inside because it's freaking cold outside. And the primer will never harden out there. So we kind of blew out the shop, got a little table set up for some parts. Let's see. And I'm planning on kind of debadging this, because I feel like the Prelude badge looks kind of tacky. And yeah, so it should be good. Alright, so I have the privilege of filming this, so I'll know what to do. But when you're taking off, especially something like this, you can see it's kind of connected to this mechanism. I think it's a good idea to take some pictures, right? Otherwise you could lose track of what you're doing kind of when you put it back together. And I think these wires are for the spoiler, which I'm probably going to take off because I'm going to be painting this whole thing. So I think I'm going to want to get underneath here. It's only 4 bolts. Take it off, and then it'll make it much easier for myself to mask this all off and make sure it doesn't kind of get into the car when I'm painting it. Alright, my time-lapse got interrupted by a visitor, but I'm working on getting this off. It's looking pretty good. One thing I noticed is you don't have to take this out. Just the clip is kind of confusing because you have to pull the rod off and then it comes out. So that's looking good, and we should have the trunk lid off here in a second. Another time-lapse coming. Alright, just like old Cleater said, or says, hell yeah, brother, we got it off. So I'm planning on putting these down and like wiring them down to something down here. As you can see, I kind of welded this up because somebody got in here and tried to like fix it when it was all damaged, as you saw in the last video. So I welded that up. I think I definitely kind of want to mist some blue in there, even though no one's going to see it. So I'm gonna put these down. I don't know how far they can go down with some like baling wire, and then that'll allow me to mask this whole area off really easily. And I'll probably take this tail light off, mask these up, and kind of take some of these wires out of here, because if I am planning on painting this whole car, you definitely want it, like, kind of make your life as easy as possible, so you can, you know, save some time, because it's quite a bit of work. So, I also live kind of far away, so I definitely want to conserve as much time as possible, and, you know, I might leave the bumper on, but probably take the grill out, and take a bunch of the trim pieces off, so then, you know, when you paint it and it's done, you don't have to go back and get all the overspray off. Okay, I got the car masked off. Should be ready for primer. Looking pretty good. Made sure to sand all these areas that I might paint, so if I do paint it, it'll stick good. And I masked off this doorway as good as I could. Definitely not perfect, but since it's only the primer coat, it should be fine. I also got a little carried away and started taking apart this door, which is honestly like super involved. It's a very involved process, like taking all this weather stripping off, which I kind of regret because we're still kind of up in the air if we're going to replace this door, because it's kind of repairable, but it's like pretty damaged. So I'm going to try and find a door this week, and hopefully I do. So I'm going to get one more little snip before I throw this respirator on. So we're using this Duplicolor primer surfacer. It's like high build primer, and I reduced it 1:1 as directed on the can. So we have 200 milliliters to shoot. We'll see how many coats we get. Hopefully a couple. And I'm going to make a little time lapse. Should be cool. So I got the primer on there. I forgot to shake the container at the start, so it was like super wet. There's definitely super heavy on there, but it's better than it being too dry. Came out pretty good.
Hey, thanks for stopping into the Bluebird Enterprises YouTube channel. If you like what you saw, give me a big thumbs up, and hopefully you're leaving with a bigger smile than you came in with.